Okay, so we need to talk about Rachel Zegler. We don't need to. I see these videos all the time. We need to talk about A, B, C, and D. No, we actually need to talk about the. We don't need to do anything, actually. Okay? I'm throwing my hat in, trying to make some peanuts for me. But there's something really sad about this whole situation. And it looks like everyone is very excited to hate on Rachel Zegler. I saw Snow White. I didn't like it. I hated it. I don't know if my review was up because I had a couple of movie reviews, but they're so long and I was struggling to get it up on the channel. But why is everyone jumping down this woman's throat, right? One, Disney didn't do her any favors. They didn't do her any favors casting her as Snow White. They didn't do her any favors with the styling, with her hair. It doesn't work for her face shape. Anybody who grew up with a 17 magazine or any of the magazines we grew up with, I was born in the 90s, we would take all the quizzes like you have a heart shaped face, or you have an oval shaped face, or you have a diamond shaped face. To be honest with you, I never figured out. I think I'm an oval. I think I'm oval shaped. I think. But everybody has different face shapes, right? And there's different haircuts that suit different, the different shapes you got, right? So I think where my hair is, I think that suits me. Her bob would not, even for me, like if I did that, that wouldn't look good for me. I don't have the face shape needed for that. And it didn't suit her. Like, she looks like Lord Farquaad, right? Pretty girl, but anybody can look less attractive with the wrong styling. Anyone can look more attractive with the right styling. This is well known. So they didn't do her any favors. Her costume looks like it's from Sheen. Looks like it's from or Forever 21, which is closing, and it's just like, okay, hey, we still got some Halloween costumes. We're trying to get rid of everything. That's what it looked like, okay? So the thing is, one, her politics. She talked about um, freeing Palestine. That's very in right now. Let's there is politics because a person has done the research and they have their own morality and they have their own intellectual thought. And then there's politics because this is the current trend. We know, you know, you just know like this bad, this good, right? And she is in her early 20s. She's 23 years old. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that I don't agree with anymore. I don't agree with anyone being killed. But it is very common for people in their early 20s to be free Palestine, unless you have Jewish descent. Of course, I'm sure there's nuances, and I'm sure that there's still 20-year-olds who are like, this is beyond my comprehension, and yada, yada, yada. But in, I'm in college right now, and it's the old Patrice O'Neill joke. If you're in your 30s and you're still in college, something didn't go right in your life, and it's like fair. I've hit my pratfalls and my pitfalls, but I'm in school, and most everyone is in their 20s, and you see patterns of behaviors. Everybody pretty much has the same politics. Everybody was pretty much woke because that's what's in, right? Only in my social psychology class did I start to see people with different opinions because the professor would challenge them and he would challenge them with research. And he's more in the middle. He's not here or there. He's let's look at things logically, rationally, without emotions. And then you start to see people change. But people are coming down Rachel's throat, and she's really not doing anything different than what the culture is saying right now. People are calling her a narcissist. Have you talked to people in their 20s? That's where we're at. That's where we're at as a society. We have unprecedented levels of narcissism. Helped in big part because of old boy right here. Okay? Yes, thank you, very cute. I love my kawaii things. You have 20-year-olds. So they pretty much spent their adolescence growing up with social media. Social media didn't really take on until what, I think I was in my 20s. Like I'm from the MySpace era. I'm from the Zanga area where you would have your little journal and you would go and you'd be like, it's crazy how people aren't loyal. And you were just a kid, you didn't know what you were doing, and it was always under construction. And then you'd put like a Blink 182 song, or you'd put like a Destiny's Child song. It was a simpler time. It was a simpler time. But now with everything, with Instagram, with TikTok, with Snapchat, with Facebook, all of these social media profiles where you are given likes, where you can go live, where every mundane thing about your life can create either a very positive reaction or create a very negative reaction. That messes with your head. That's not normal. So I hear you, the narcissism, but again, that's the culture right now. Okay, she's a PR nightmare. She's talking about her politics. That was also the culture. The culture was to be very outspoken. And the thing is, that's not new. That nothing that we as humans are doing right now, so much of this stuff has been done before. Happened in the 60s and 70s, the counterculture, the Vietnam protest, going to Woodstock. We cycle through things. This has happened. So being very outspoken about politics and not understanding that when someone is giving you a multi-million-dollar contract that you better, until the movie's done, and then you can go do what you want. To me, she just seems to be like a victim of her culture. Now, that's not saying that she doesn't have any personal responsibility, or her friends or her family to also help guide her. But who are we, the masses, to judge without any ounce of grace when we help contribute to this culture, when we help contribute to this society? How many of us are firmly standing against the narcissism, the lack of morals, the lack of friendship, the loneliness that people are dealing with, the narcissism? How many of us are really standing against that and being like, hey, there's a better way? How many of us are really criticizing art so it gets to people's ears, and it's like, no, we're criticizing this because it's not good, because it's not reflective of our lives, because it's not, there's no real meaning to it. Everything is aesthetics, or violent, or overly sexual. There's no real morals or anything to aspire to. And so, if we're not contributing to creating a better culture for younger generations, is it fair of us to just come and demonize her and just say that she's this, that, the third? And a lot of these videos on YouTube, they're making money. They're making money off of insulting this girl and this young woman. I apologize, this young woman. They're making money off of insulting her and disrespecting her. I'm making a video about it. I'm throwing my hat in the ring, even though I'm trying to come from a more empathetic viewpoint. I'm still putting out this. Oh, I'm not making money. I'm trying in the hopes of being monetized because it's a topical thing. But it's we're being very disingenuous. This young woman has failed on a global level, right? And being 23 years old, she probably doesn't know how to deal with that. And the culture that we live in has not prepared her for how to deal with that. When I took it was principles in professional psychology course, and it was all about how to dress professionally. How we our that course was very heavy on presentations, giving presentations on different aspects of psychology, different domains of psychology, right? So everybody got different. Okay, you're um, organizational psychology, your child psychology, your family psychology. Tell us about the career, how much you can look to make, the schooling, the requirements. And so, I'm old school. When I do a presentation, I go dressed very professionally. One, it helps me with my confidence, and it helps me feel competent, and I can go boom 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 boom, and I can do what I got to do. In that class where the majority of my classmates are in their early 20s, people came in with Crocs, people came in with sweatpants, People came in looking like they just got out of bed. People came in looking disheveled. There was one girl, very sweet girl. She came in with a crop top, and she had a pierced belly button. Okay, time and place. There is a time and a place for that. A very cute girl, but you're not supposed to do that when you're giving a presentation. And the professor, she's being very nice, but she is saying, she's like, people are judging you. She can't criticize what they wear. She could get in trouble for that. But she would try to give advice like, be there early, come looking good, dress conservatively, right? Because people are going to judge you. It's the reality. They're not there to be your friends. If you're going in for a job, they're not there to be your friends. They're not there to bask in your individuality. They're there to see, can you do this job? Are you competent? Are you going to make sure that we don't land into any legal trouble? And are you going to give something to the company or to the practice? They're looking not for you specifically. They're looking at what you can do for us. The same way, like you're looking at us, like what we could do for you, the benefits, the pay. And in a culture, like I said, where people are being congratulated on what they look like, how they dress, and all they have to do for to be congratulated on their morals and ethics is just say free Palestine and put a watermelon emoji. That's all they have to do for people around them to be like, yeah, you're a person I want to know because you have the same values and opinions of me, and that's it. That's all they have to do. They don't actually have to think about anything intellectually. They don't actually have to talk about how things could improve. They don't have to talk about human nature and philosophical quandaries and the religious aspects in there, and all of the issues that make the conflict in the Middle East as complex and as screwed up as it is. They don't have to do any of that. They could just be cute. Free Palestine, watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. That's it. So I understand, there was, I think it was the director's son who came out and said, you know, she's she's narcissistic, she's a child, she's this, that, and the third. And it's like, yeah, but this is the culture that we live in, you know? Is it fair of him to chastise her on such a public level when I think if she were truly an anomaly and she were really, just like really, really out of pocket. And it's like, oh, this is not what the culture is. This is what the culture is. The culture is to say whatever you want to say. The culture is to be narcissistic. The culture is that if you have liberal politics, you are the majority. The culture is if all you could do virtue signaling. That's been that for a long time. So is that really fair to do that to someone who's 23 years old? You know, she doesn't have the skill set because she posted a video. And this is the other thing, right? We don't really have public relations anymore like we used to. And honestly, I blame Tom Cruise. I feel like all of this could be traced back to him jumping on that couch on Oprah's show. He did something. He unlocked something. He unlocked something in theater kids. And it was like he did that and like the earth trembled. And just every theater kid that ever was, ever will be, was like, I don't need public relations. I can put my heart, my soul, my art out on the sleeve. And it's like, no, you do. You need public relations. You need to not say whatever's on your mind. Okay. And they're coming after her. And Gal Gadot has done this in the past. Now, also very interesting. Gal Gadot is Israeli. She's stands with Israel. The other, Rachel Zegler, stands with Palestine. No, nobody sat them down. Nobody foresaw this problem and was like, hey, 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 I'm gonna need everyone to STF you, okay? You took the money, you took the millions of dollars. once the film is done, once it does what it does, you're good, right? But you got this conflict between the actresses, and again, people are coming after Rachel. Gal has had this too with her stupid Imagine video during COVID. So with that, I wonder, even though they have different politics, I wonder if she's ever gone up to her and been like, I got in trouble and we can disagree or whatever, but and we're in the same line of work, and I've been there and I've been ridiculed and I was made fun of, and I was just taken out to pasture because I was viewed as insensitive and A, B, C, and D. So my advice to you is don't make the same mistake that I've done. I'm gonna say probably not, because of their politics, and politics are so polarizing that maybe she did, but most likely she didn't. So what guidance does Rachel have? Again, I'm not trying to give her a pass on everything, but it's that same thing. We've How many times have we been here before as a society where we take really young people, and usually young women, but we've also failed young men too. We've done it. You look at Justin Bieber, look at where he is right now. We fail them over and over and over and over again. And we lambaste them and lampoon them, and that's it. And they're expected to just deal with it, instead of like, hey, no, somebody putting their hand on her shoulder like, hey, come sit down, come sit down. Just because the culture is what it is doesn't mean it's right. And I think the other thing too is, like, everyone is forgetting it's easy to get got. Okay, it's for everyone. We are such social creatures. Our survival is dependent on us being social creatures. And you can say, you could also do this lie of like, I'm a homebody, I'm not going out anywhere, it's just me in my bed. How many times have we seen that on social media? But then when you ask them about their politics, or you look at how they dress, or you look at like their fascination with the Stanley Cup or whatever, it's exactly what everyone else is doing. True individuality, true going against the grain is incredibly hard to do, because sometimes you are alone. It is, and it can be such an awful feeling to really feel alone, to really feel misunderstood, to really feel like you're just on the outside looking in. And I've had that because of depression. Imagine if you have that for your morals, your values. It starts to get to a weird place, you know? So it's disappointing, and she's not doing herself any favors. She went on Instagram live and she compared herself to a priceless work of art, which is like, girl, this is not helping the narcissism. It's not helping. And I think it was the win victory. She's like, the win victory got to the Louvre in pieces, and yet people still line up to see her. And I think she said, for everyone who wants, I think before that, she was like, for everyone who loves to see May fail. No, no, mistake after mistake. And then she ends it with, I still hope that people will line up to see everything I'm in. A couple things wrong with that. A PR agent could have told her, one, not everyone who is criticizing you wants to see you fail. The movie is the other thing too. It shouldn't be all on her. I also don't like people saying like she ruined the movie. Her acting is not good. Gal Gadot's acting is not good. Gal Gadot is attractive, but she's not a good actor. She did not have the chops to be a villain. The costumes are ugly. The makeup is bad. They try Gal Gadot. They tried to make her makeup look just like the queen in the original animated film. Just because it works in animation doesn't mean it's going to work in real life. They needed more talented makeup artists to figure that out. Um, The styling of Rachel's hair is not good. The costume design of the bandits is not good. The CGI of the seven dwarves is not good. So it's also not fair to say this movie failed because of Rachel. Rachel was a part of it, but she was not even the main reason this failed. The main reason this failed from Disney is because they are concerned with algorithms. They are concerned with meeting woke politics, or just not offending a lot of people. They are not concerned with creating amazing works of art. They're not hiring the best people for the job. They're not actually scouting for talent. So it's so disingenuous to put this all on this young woman's shoulders. No, that's BS. That's not true. Yeah, she's a part of why it sucked. Everyone else is also a part of why it sucked. Ooh, what is this? What now again, what are you teaching this 23-year-old that no adult in this entire process is like, you know what? Turns on their little cameras like, you know what? It's just as much my fault. It even actually it's more so my fault because A, B, C, and D. What are we doing? What does that say about culture that we pick the person that, yes, is a bit more outspokenly narcissistic, or a little off put. Some of her interviews were very off putting, and we're just going to dunk on her and not critically look at all the other problems with this movie? No, that's not fair. That's not fair. And the other thing is, I've met a lot of people in their 20s who, and this is going to sound messed up, they still have hopes, goals, and dreams, and they haven't realized, like, maybe you should bring those down. Just for now, bring them down, because sometimes for me, it feels like people have their heads in the sand. We might be looking at food shortages in a couple of years. Hollywood looks like it's on its last leg out. Movie theaters are looking to close. Restaurants are looking to close. The inflation of groceries is out of this world. And so I see a lot of 20-year-olds that are just clinging to titles. They're just clinging to, like, being liked by other people. Because what else do they have? What else do they have to look forward to? How many people can afford children? How many people can have solid, good friendships? How many people know truly how to balance self care and sacrifice for other people? It's not many. It's not many. And social media and the internet and being chronically online, all of that stuff is not helping. So I think Rachel truly is a product of her time, of her generation, of the culture that exists right now. I think people not offering her any grace and being like, hey, listen, yeah, some of the stuff you need a firm talking to about certain things, and but really she needs to be educated. You know, she needs to be informed. She needs to be told that just because this is what culture is doesn't mean that it's right, doesn't mean that it's something to aspire to. And I think more people need to be honest about, oh, we're in a bad situation, and not be like, it's the left's fault, it's the right's fault. It's like, that's not gonna matter when nobody has a slice of bread to eat. It's not gonna matter. And instead of us looking at the people who are financially secure and looking at the systems in place that have gone unchecked for a long time, and all of us being on the same page and going after that stuff together, we're still doing the division part. Like, I was part of the woke culture because I'm a person who roots for the underdog. I do not believe that people should be mistreated. I do not believe that people should be subjugated to abuse, treated differently because of their gender or race. That has not changed. What has changed is I saw that the politicians, the liberal politicians, the right, the Democrats, didn't do jack squat to fix anything. And being overly politically correct did not do anything to make the world a kinder, safer place. Doesn't mean that people should just be able to say whatever they want and insult people and cause people pain and misery. But there should be more of a sense of humor. We should be able to acknowledge our differences and crack jokes, and you know we should stand firm against hatred. But it's like, man, you can do whatever you want in your house, go live your life, but you can't hurt other people. That should have been what we should have done. And we should have had more conversations of, for example, in terms of trans issues. Nobody, at least from what I've heard, I've never heard anyone that said, you know what, women have been mistreated throughout society. They have been second class citizens. And now we have another group of people, um, especially, men to women, uh, male to female trans, because that seems to be where a lot of the issues came from. And they're trying to find their place in society. And every time that groups are trying to find the fairness for them, someone's always going to feel shortchanged. That's it's always been like that, right? Because we view things of like, oh well, if that person's rights increase, that means my rights are going to decrease. That happens to a lot of people. And vice versa. Sometimes you have some people on the other side who are like, well, I'm only caring about my group because we have suffered. And sometimes blinders come on, and we don't see what we're doing. And then two, the majority is usually not the loudest group. It's usually that very, very small minority that is very out of pocket and that's has like the most intense views. Those tend to be the loudest people. Why is that? Why is that the millions and millions of people? Because if you look at polls, there are a lot of topics that we all tend to fall right in the middle on. Why is it the people on the outskirts, why is it that they are always the loudest voices? Why is it always that they're the ones that are amplified the most? And could that be because of how our brain works and how humans tend to choose negativity over positivity, and that there's and the fact that our brain doesn't exist to make us happy, but it exists to make us survive? And could we be getting stuck in certain illogical and irrational thinking patterns, which we all have? Maybe. That's how I view things. But yeah, I really do feel bad for Rachel, truly. I feel bad for the state of our culture right now. Um, I feel really sorry for her that she doesn't know how to hold an L. A lot of people in their 20s do not know how to hold an L. She went on and she's probably struggling right now. I mean, to fail globally, that's gotta hurt. And to be so, her prefrontal lobe hasn't even finished developing, and so she has to deal with all of that. And that is scary. That is scary for in terms of her mental health. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. I mean, what no one is stopping to like be like, hey, let's pump the brakes right now. If her worth is dependent on social media and what other people say to her, that could get to some really dicey areas, and that's not something I wish for anybody. Haven't we learned this with what was done to Britney Spears, and what was done to so many women? And it was also done to certain young men, but I feel like it was probably done more so to young women. It's like the lottery. South Park did that great episode where they did the lottery with with Britney Spears and how people were treating her. Is that what this is? Society is crumbling, and we're like, oh, the harvest probably isn't going to come. We need another one, and everyone's pouncing on Rachel. No, yes, that we're looking at a bad harvest. We're like the corn, the beans, they're not going to come in, so we need a young starlet to sacrifice. You know what I mean? And that's, again, I'm not saying constructive criticism. I'm not saying that. Like, the movie sucked. I'm not saying, like, yeah, she's showing some narcissism, the PR is not great. But again, like, saying that that entire movie's failures was her, saying how awful and horrible she is when she's really just there. She's really doing what people her age are, that is their oh, I forgot, it's like base point. I forgot the name, but that, like, that baseline, that's their baseline. So why all this hatred? And my guess is people are tired and they're very angry at where the culture is right now. They're over it. um, People are angry about the state of the world and where it's going. And I think people are not being honest with themselves. And instead of critically looking at society as a whole and being like, hey, this is an example, it's just easier to just pile on and do a dog pile on top of Rachel. So, yeah, I just really didn't like that. She's still a young woman in her 20s, and like I said, we probably pick and choose who we give sympathy to, but I don't think that she was so out of pocket in comparison to people her age that she deserves all of this hate. You know, I think there's a lot of things to criticize, and she's just another thing to criticize. She's not someone to dogpile on. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I've noticed, I looked at videos on YouTube real quick. The videos with the most views are the ones that are, she's a narcissist, she ruined the movie. There was like one video that was like, oh, the hatred for Rachel is out of proportion. And that video only had 14,000 views. And that was from 2 weeks ago. Says a lot about where we're at. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.